What are your expectations for AD tonight?
I think AD has to be aggressive. Look, two things that I think are going to decide this game. You have AD, who had the head injury, right? You have Andrew Wiggins, who has the rib injury. Tonight is going to be a war of attrition because tonight this game needs to be won in the trenches. The best way for the Lakers to win this game is to punish them with points in the paint and to have a free throw disparity. That's when they won every game. So Wiggins, with the rib injury, I want to see LeBron James back his butt down, nonstop, punish him in the blocks. And the same thing for AD. He's going to have to play through toughness because if there's one person who smells blood in the water, that is Draymond Green. So I can guarantee you cross screens, boom. Anytime they get a chance to hit AD, boom. You try to knock him off his equilibrium. You call that Cobra Kai, sweep the leg, whatever the hell you want to call it. We're going to see that war of attrition occur.
It's going to be a bet. Look at Monica. She's loving it.
Going Mortal Kombat.
Finish him.
Alan, what do you think? What are we going to get from AD?
Just don't sweep my bad leg.
Well, I'll tell you what. You said head injury. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not a head injury. So I expect his baseline, 2010. That's what I need out of him.
Is that going to be enough to get the win, though?
Yes, it will. Yeah, he's got to get 2010. This is a vintage LeBron game. Just like Jay said, get all the work done in the paint and put this team away. Don't play with your food. Don't leave one thing LeBron James knows better than anybody in this league. You do not want a Game 7 all the way back in Golden State. He doesn't want to give this team any more life. Take them out now. Make sure you reach down. Because, by the way, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals is Tuesday.
Wow.
Game 7 is Sunday. That's not a lot of rest. You want this weekend. You empty the tank tonight.
Monica, weigh in on AD.
Well, yes. AD needs to be good. He needs to be, I think he's got to continue his defensive prowess maybe more than his offensive prowess. 20 and 10 would be great, but I think if he's also holding guys as a primary defender under that 35% mark, that's tremendous. And obviously, his ability to switch out and guard the perimeter was huge in Game 5 as well. So I actually think, though, and I know AD is the name in the marquee as far as this matchup is concerned, but I don't think we can understate the importance of the Lakers' role players in this one. Whether it's Jared Vanderbilt continuing to make life hell for Steph, whether it's Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell going at Steph on the offensive end and making him defend, and of course those two in particular, their ability to hit shots to make it a little bit easier for AD and LeBron.
All right, so Jay Will. Then on the other side, the Warriors, Curry, going to get a lot of attention. What do we need to see from him?
Well, I think you're going to see different coverage defensively. I don't think you're going to see AD switch out on Steph on a lot of that high pick and roll. They ran less pick and roll in Game 5. And they had like 24 pick and rolls, as opposed to Steph Curry alone in Game 4 had like 30 plus, right? So I think you're going to see a lot more drop coverage. Look, this game is set up for Jordan Poole and also Klay Thompson. Jordan Poole is the other guy, is the other dynamic playmaker off the ball, right, to create shots. I know Steph is going to get it, but I'm telling you, they're going to need Klay to be big. They're going to need Jordan Poole to be big because there's going to be a lot of attention on Steph. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Steph to have a big game. He's going to have a good game, but it's going to come around to the ancillary players making plays around him as well.
Monica, I see you shaking your head.
I think you're right, Jay, but Klay probably has it in him, although I feel like he's pressed a lot in this series, and there's been some questionable shot taking. And I got to dig into the numbers, but I think you almost need the defense of Klay as badly as you need some of his offense. Frankly, I think Jordan Poole is a little bit outmatched in this series just in general. I don't trust his decision-making in this one, and we've seen the Lakers really capitalize on bad mistakes, and long threes, they lead to runouts. That's the easiest thing that LeBron can get. So there's a lot on Steph in this one. If those guys play well, it makes a difference, but I'm not feeling super, super confident in that happening.
But, Monica, my only thing is if it's only Steph, then they become very much a one-dimensional team.
That's what the league
wants. Real quick,
that's
what they want, and that's what they've been doing. They've been making Steph a playmaker. That's what they want him to be, and he can certainly do that. But I believe this is like redemption game for Klay Thompson, who did not play well in the first 2 games in LA. That's home for him. It's personal for him. It's important for him or someone else to arrive, because Draymond Green did it in the previous game. Someone else now has to arrive to extend this to a 7th game.
But you know what? Everybody in Philadelphia or anybody who's a fan has to be so frustrated right now. This was a chance to close them out. They couldn't get it done. Now it's a Game 7 in Boston. Alan, how do you explain the fact that Embiid did not touch the ball with 3:56 or something something down the stretch.
Well, it's a failure in several different cases, and the first one begins with who you're dealing with, and that is three people who are running a franchise, and three people who have done nothing but struggle in closing out series. Think about Doc Rivers and his record. He won a championship a long time ago in 2008 with the Celtics, and since then, he has been nothing but a struggle when it comes to coaching in the playoffs at 17-34 now in closeout games. So you have that situation, your head coach. You have James Harden. That's it. That's all you need to know. It's James Harden in the playoffs. Anybody following basketball knows the rest of that story. And then Joel Embiid, who's with the Sixers, and this is the hump he just can't get over. The second round, they had the Celtics on the ropes, I felt. They were home. They were rolling. The building was on their side, and all they had to do was to deliver the knockout punch, which they couldn't do. And they are, to me, that maddening team that you just can't figure out. You don't know what you're getting. I'd say this series is maddening to me.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what you're getting from either team. But for the Sixers, this is an opportunity lost once again for a franchise that has not been able to get over the hump of the second round.
Monica, how big of a meltdown was this for Embiid and the Sixers?
I'm sorry that you have to sit next to him, Ryan. I know that this is deep and personal to you, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I put this meltdown around an 8, around a 7.5, 8. But here's the thing that you cannot manufacture: the urgency of being on the ropes. And so as much as you question why Joel Embiid doesn't get the basketball in the last 4 minutes, although when we watch that tape, I also question why he wasn't at the block or even at the high post in an assertive fashion, because that's the place where he's been able to kill teams. He can't waffle around the perimeter and act like, oh, everything is great, combined with some guys trying to play some hero ball in terms of bad shot selection. But you cannot manufacture the urgency of being on the ropes. And to me, what you saw was a Celtics squad that was not ready to end their season. And to their credit, we've seen late in this series, in late games that it's been close, the Celtics have fallen apart. And so they needed to swing the pendulum in an extreme fashion as well. So I'm willing to give the Celtics a little more credit and a little less blame to the Sixers.
Monica, this is not a meltdown. This is basketball malpractice. You failed your client. You had the try. You had it won. The case was closed.
I don't think.
And then
you,
somehow,
see, this,
some way, you couldn't convince
differ.
the jury to say not guilty.
Go ahead, Monica.
You are still guilty of playoff failure.
Go ahead, Monica.
This is where you and I differ, though, Han. I at no point. I think maybe there was like a small stretch in the second quarter where it was like, if Jayson Tatum can't get it together, they got this. But I never felt like the Sixers really had it won. And so if you're going to take down a team that previously won the Eastern Conference Finals last year, went to the finals, you have to take them out. I felt like the Celtics were like, we're okay. And they proved to be okay.
You know when they knew they were okay? Here's the adjustment Joe Mazzulla made, the great adjustment that he made. Jayson Tatum started making shots, contested shots, long three-pointers. That's the adjustment that they made. Our best player played great when it mattered most because the door was left open by the Sixers. That's what happened here. This series has had mood swings that remind me of I'm a parent of teenagers. And this is like living with teenagers. You don't know what you're getting each day. I have no idea. You're not happy. You're in your room. You don't want to come down and want to talk to anybody. Fine. Then you come down. Oh, you're going to join us at the table? This is great. You're smiling. I want to enjoy this moment as best I can. And if you're going to ask me who's winning Game 7, I can't tell you. Because I have no idea who's going to wake up happy or sad or in emo mode. I have no idea who to trust and who to not. So let's just wake up and see what we got. Because that's this series. It's been poorly coached, and it has been a mood swing of this team feels good, that team feels bad. Now today we're feeling better. It's amazing to me. Even this game has had that same feel. All of a sudden, Jayson Tatum came downstairs and said, I want to sit with you at the kitchen table and smile and put my phone down instead of scrolling. That's what Tatum did in the last 3 minutes of this game.
I just want to defend the Han kids. You guys are amazing, and usually he's raving about you. Don't take it personal. It's an analogy that he cannot let go.
I'm getting facepalm emojis already on Snapchat. Okay.
Look, I hear you, and there certainly is a Jekyll and Hyde nature to this series. But ultimately, and the thing that separated the Celtics to me going into this series is their experience. And so we'll see what happens in Game 7. I'm not sure that they've excised all their demons in terms of late-game decision-making that has caused them to basically lose games over the course of this series. And yes, Tatum was 1A, biggest adjustment, knocking down shots. But that lead was shrinking before he hit that shot. And so I just think the Celtics showed up in the fourth.
Okay, so more about a team effort for them. And Alan, when you look at this, though, Tatum, remember yesterday we were saying, hey, it can't all be about him, but it really was all about him in some ways in the fourth. But Monica's saying it's a little defense as well. How did he play out? What did you make of his performance?
Well, again, on Tatum's side of things, he just got hot. That's literally what happened with him.
That's it, yeah.
Is he just made shots. I mean, if you look at the numbers here, he was doing nothing in this game, literally nothing in this game. Jaylen Brown, who we always push aside, he was a guy doing some stuff in this game, but he was doing nothing, and that's why I say the opportunity was there. Don't let him get hot. These are guys, I said this earlier in the show, this is like NBA Jam. We all think it's 3 straight shots. He's on fire. Guys like him, 1 shot, and suddenly now I'm a heat check. Yeah. You know, that's how they feel, and that's what he said even after the game. When you look at the shots that he's making here, these are contested shots. These aren't great shots. I mean, look at this shot here. It's defense on him. Well, this is earlier in the game, obviously.
Yeah, right.
But he hits, I think this is the one. This is the one he hits, and that got him going. That's a contested long 2. But all he needed to see was the ball go in, and suddenly he turned it on and turned this game around. And the Sixers offensively fell apart. You can credit what the Celtics did defensively to load up the paint and force them to become a 3-point shooting team, which they didn't do well, especially above the break in this game. Melton didn't make his threes. PJ missed a couple of corner threes. There were moments that you saw kick out and thought, make this, extend the lead, and they couldn't make them, and it opened the door. It left the door open, I should say, for the Celtics to take this game.
For me, this game was more about what the Sixers didn't do than what the Celtics did do, even though the Celtics did a lot. Alan, KD went there. They wanted to win a title. They fall way short of that. Is this season a failure for them?
No, not even close. This is not. You can't look at this situation here and consider this a failure. And here's why. Because first of all, you're going to pay the King's ransom to get a guy like Kevin Durant into your organization. He becomes available. It's late in the season. You're doing it. And you're doing it not to just win this year. You're doing it to win for the next couple of years. You want a window open. Now, yes, he's older, so it's not a big window. It's a portal. But it's still there. It's open. And so what you need to do now is go into an offseason understanding that you're way too top-heavy. You have 2 of the great scorers in the game today with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. At one point, they were averaging 70 points a game in the postseason, which is a ridiculous rate. You could not sustain that. So now you have to, if you're James Jones, the general manager, Matt Ishbia, the new owner, you have to now have a game plan this offseason with these 2 guys that are magnets for talent, and you have to figure out how are you going to build this roster around them so that your window of opportunity, your championship window, begins next season.
Okay, so Monica, I think it's a failure. What do you think?
I don't think it's a failure, Ryan. Han, though, is a portal bigger than a doggy door? Like, what's the one? How we
depends on the size
probably.
of the portal, an aperture. I mean, anybody you want. You can go with any kind of word you want there. But
okay,
it's
enough.
An opening of something.
Here's the thing that I'm excited about moving forward and why I won't call this game or this season a failure for them. This is less than 25 games, right, with them healthy. And so it takes time to gel. It takes time to figure it out. And frankly, the depth, we can see the writing on the wall. The depth wasn't there, and this is not 2 of your best known 2-way guys in the league where you would expect their defensive fortitude maybe to power them through just as much as what they could do on offense. I think, though, as you look at the West, there's a really good chance that Golden State looks different, right? We don't know necessarily what the Lakers are going to do. I mean, you think about a team like Sacramento, they didn't necessarily have a ton of defensive prowess, but they could obviously re-up easily next year. I think when I think of defensive juggernauts in the West, like, what's Memphis going to do? So there is this really legitimate opportunity for Phoenix to capitalize on however short this window is in terms of being able to differentiate themselves in the West and potentially run into the Nuggets again. Like, they look like the team that stands to stay intact.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.